The official teaser for Solo: A Star Wars Story is out, and not only do we get our first look at Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, but we also hear his performance as the infamous smuggler. We start off with a chase scene on Corellia, with Han Solo on a Corellian land speeder together with Emilia Clarke's character Qi'ra. At first we think that Han is escaping a Corellian Imperial Patrol stormtrooper, which he eventually does manage to lose, but really he's escaping an individual known as Moloch, which is evident by the large speeder on his tail in the following shot. So I like how this scene gives us a proper industrial feel to how Corellia is supposed to be known for. And we also get to see a couple of Easter eggs here as well. The first being Han is wearing the same kind of gloves that he can be seen also wearing in A New Hope, which is a great little touch along with the golden dice. This actually gives me the impression that Han actually owns the speeder and isn't something that he simply stole for the purpose of the chase scene. Next we get to establishing shots of some snowy mountains where we see Han Solo looking off into the distance wearing a fur coat. We don't know where this might be, but I think it might still be on Corellia. A nice quick interior view of that sleek and squeaky clean Millennium Falcon. Based on a tweet by the Star Wars official Twitter account, I think it's likely that the Falcon will be a brand new ship, rather than already being an old piece of junk as it was in Legends at this point. Another shot of the Falcon, except this time outside of Han looking at it. Based on the environment, I suspect this is on Kessel, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if the first time Han does meet the Falcon is really on Kessel. In this scene, I think we see the desert/beaches of Corellia, where Han and Qi'ra end up meeting with Tobias Beckett, who is Han Solo's mentor. Seems like he's putting together some kind of team, and based on what we know from unofficial information, it's for a heist. Looks like everybody nowadays is creating a team for a heist. Now, based on this trend, I'm not sure if we should also expect to see a team put together for a heist in the Obi-Wan movie either, because I hope that's not the case. From this point on, we get a quick look at each of the members of this heist team. We see Qi'ra alongside L337, a droid associated with Lando and the Millennium Falcon behind them. Based on how Qi'ra is dressed and how she's now with Lando's droid, I think it's a good chance that this shot is from one of the heist missions. Also, the droid L337 is being played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, using motion capture just like Alan Tudyk did with K2SO in Rogue One. Our first look in the teaser at Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. What do I think about this? I'm not sold on how he looks yet, but I do want to hear him talk and see how his Lando performance really is, before I really make any judgment calls here. We also now know that Tandy Newton will play a character in Beckett's heist team, but we just don't know who she exactly is yet. I'm kinda curious to see if she's gonna play as Sana Steros, whom Han did marry as part of a scam, but most likely she's just gonna be a brand new character. Oh, and there's also Space Monkey with 4 arms, because, well, looks like just like with the heist teams in Star Wars anthology movies, you also gotta have a Space Monkey somewhere in there as well. In this glancing shot, it looks like Han Solo is in some kind of cantina. It's difficult to really get a good look of any of the aliens here, but I think we can see a member of the Grand Species here based on their 3 eyeballs, which for anyone who doesn't know is an alien from the original trilogy, so that's always nice to see. Here we're back on presumably the snow part of Corellia, with Beckett asking Han if he's interested in yet another heist after I'm assuming the first heist went fairly well. We also get to see Chewbacca in this scene, which is interesting, as I suppose at this point in the film we already know Han has saved Chewie from Imperial slavery. Lando and L337 are shown piloting the Millennium Falcon here, and based on how well in sync they are, it looks like they've been partners in crime for quite some time now. We get yet another cantina or bar scene here. Not much to tell from this shot, other than we get to see another familiar original trilogy alien race, being the Twi'leks. If I'd had to harbor a guess, I'd say this bar has something to do with one of the heists potentially. Especially since we see Kira here wearing black like she did in the other heist shot. This here reminds me of a Western showdown, which is a good thing. It looks to be on the sands of Corellia, with Han meeting up with a group that looks to be some kind of scavengers that live on the outskirts of Coronet City. Honestly, these guys look like something straight out of the video game Destiny. Looking at them, they don't exactly bear that Star Wars type of feeling. Oh, and the head honcho here is apparently supposed to be the main villain of the movie as well. That's practically all we know about him right now. Next seems to be shots from one of the heists in the movie. I suspect this part here is from a heist on Kessel, with what I think is Lando beating down some Kessel guards using the same outfit he wore from Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace. Alright, so in this scene, here is clear that it's from the second heist that Beckett was talking to Han and Chewie about in the Snowy Mountains. From what I can tell, Han is leading a couple of other ships and capturing a part of an Imperial cargo train that we saw in the TV spot. However, it is possible things don't go as well as planned, as next we see Han's heist ship flying away from some kind of explosion, potentially maybe from whatever that cargo train was carrying. Finally, we get the scene of the Falcon being chased by a Star Destroyer and TIE fighters in a storm. And to be honest, I'm getting Kessel Run vibes from this. We know the Kessel Run was an extremely dangerous, almost maze-like space route that went right by clusters of black holes in order to evade Imperial trade routes. Now, this is just me speculating here, but I think this might be a Star Destroyer that purposely chases the Falcon into the Kessel Run. Now, what's also interesting in this shot is this new TIE variant that comes out of this particular Star Destroyer. This TIE has a secondary pod module that fires dual cannon lasers. We haven't seen this type of TIE fighter before, so perhaps it might be a prototype of some kind. Anyways, we get a look inside the Falcon cockpit this time and see Han and Chewie take Lando's and L337's place as pilot and co-pilot, which adds even more to the possibility that this may be the Kessel Run after all, and that it is Han that pulled it off and not Lando. As well at the end of this scene where the crew thinks the coast is clear, when then suddenly huge tentacles appear out of nowhere. Now the first thing that came to my mind when seeing this was the Purrgil, which were essentially space whales that were known to approach and fly into starships. However, if this was a Purrgil, then it would have to be massive, as it's far bigger than any of the Purrgil we got to see on Star Wars Rebels. Also, I've gotta say it, but who at Disney has a tentacle fetish? First the Raftars, then Borg Gullet, and now this. I don't know about you, but that's just no coincidence in my book. Next, I'll cover the few scenes that were in the Solo Super Bowl TV spot that weren't in the teaser trailer for whatever reason. The first being on Corellia, where Han is met with an Imperial recruiter. Now what I find interesting here is that there are two completely separate scenes of Han interacting with an Imperial recruiter. The first being here, with a more chubby looking Imperial with a mustache. And then we see this guy, who's more leaner and without a mustache. Also, he's sitting a level above Han, and the location in the background seems to be of some kind of Imperial facility. For some reason, the same Imperial recruiter voiceover is used for both scenes, which makes the viewer think that it's the same scene when it's not. Funny enough, Han is also wearing the same getup in both scenes, which is odd and wouldn't surprise me at all if this is several of the heists that will be in the movie. We also get to see a little bit more of the speeder chase on Corellia with Moloch in the TV spot, which I think follows right after the chase scenes we do get from the teaser. As of right now, we have no idea why Moloch is even chasing Han to begin with. Right, so here is that Imperial cargo train scene we spoke about before. It's very likely that this will be a heist mission and Beckett wants whatever the Imperials are hauling in that train. But he isn't the only one who does, as we do see him going up against the scavenger villain up top of the train. Also, what's pretty cool about the scene is that will show us that Beckett will wield double blaster pistols, which of course instantly reminds us of other well-known Star Wars characters that did the same, like Jango Fett and Rex. Anyways, to conclude, this movie's going to have a lot of heists, as well as some space monkeys and some space tentacles. But granted, it certainly does look like a fun adventure movie with an old school western Star Wars but yet gritty kind of feel to it. And while I'm excited to see it, I'm just not crazy hyped for it as it was for Rogue One. Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps I'm just neither sold yet on Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo or Donald Glover as Lando. I mean, I was always on that I don't need or want a Han Solo movie. But if you're gonna give me one, then have Anthony Ingruber play the role. And that's because he played a perfect spot-on younger Harrison Ford in Age of Adaline, to where I couldn't believe that he didn't get picked for Solo. However, with that said, I'm willing to give Ehrenreich a chance. And right now, it's too early to tell in my opinion. But from what I've seen so far, I'm just not sold. Also, I'm a little bit surprised we didn't get to see more of Kessel, or even the Pikes for that matter, in this teaser. But if anything, I'm expecting to see all that shown in an actual full trailer that should also feature Jabba, Boba Fett, and even Vader, and that should be released in either March or April. But that'll do it for me. Now I want to hear from you. What did you all think about Solo after seeing the teaser? Are you hyped or excited for it? And be honest, what did you think about young Han and Lando so far based on only the teaser footage? Let me know in the comments down below. This is N7 from Silo, signing off.